Traffic on the third mainland bridge pulsed like a stubborn artery. Adesewa Oloye clenched the steering wheel, every horn blast a reminder that she was late, again. When she finally slid her key into the flat in Lekki Phase 1, the hallway lights were dim. Laughter did not greet her. In Tolu's room, she found 2-year-old Tolu already asleep, mouth parted like a tiny bean pod. Beside the cot sat the new nanny, Imani, humming a lullaby so soft it pressed against the walls. The tune had a lilting Hausa cadence woven through gentle Yoruba hums. It was beautiful. "Sorry I'm late." "No trouble, madam." He drifted off the moment I began the song. Adesewa's guilt jabbed her. She bent to kiss Tolu's forehead and caught a faint scent of agbalumo fruit. The child did not stir. His eyelids fluttered as though chasing something just out of reach. That night, lying beside her husband Kunle, Adesewa wondered how a stranger's voice could soothe her son better than hers ever had. Kunle murmured encouragement, "You're doing your best, Sewa." But the apartment felt like a borrowed shell, someone else's lullaby echoing through its chambers. Morning light danced through Tolu's curtains. When Adesewa lifted him from his cot, his eyes were glassy, as if he'd woken from a voyage he could not recall. Breakfast was yam pottage, sprinkled with crayfish, his favorite, but today he poked it listlessly. "What color is your toy bus?" she coaxed, holding up the red plastic vehicle. Tolu stared, puzzled, then shrugged and rubbed his eyes. Later, while Kunle left for court, he was a junior barrister, Imani resumed the lullaby, tidying toys in tempo. Tolu perked, toddled toward her, and curled at her feet like a kitten. As the final note faded, his lids drooped and he slumped, asleep. Adesewa felt the chill again. Surely toddlers could nap anywhere, but this was uncanny. She opened her timesheet on her phone. A presentation to pitch by Friday, 2 client dinners, and the regional marketing summit next week. The nanny was a blessing, she reminded herself. Presence through delegation. Yet that night she rewound the baby monitor recording. Beneath Imani's melody hid faint whispers, layer upon layer, like voices submerged underwater. She replayed the fragment again. The hairs on her arms rose. Whatever lullaby this was, it held secrets. At work, neon slides flashed across a boardroom screen. Adesewa's strategy dazzled the executives, and by noon, HR handed her a promotion letter. Regional Marketing Director, salary jump, overseas travel. Everyone clapped, champagne glasses clinked. But in her Uber home, she wondered how many more bedtimes she would miss. Lagos skyline blurred behind the glass. Her mother's proverb drifted to mind. A child's first friend is their mother's shadow. She glanced at her phone. The nanny cam thumbnail showed Tolu sleeping, Imani's frame tilted over him, humming. Home arrived with another after-hours nap. Tolu woke, confused, searching pockets of memory that had slipped away. When she offered him puff-puff, he asked, "What's this?" A snack he'd devoured just yesterday. Kule suggested stress. "Kids have foggy days," he said. "Let's go out Saturday night, refresh." Adesewa nodded, tasting guilt sweeter than the puff-puff syrup. Saturday afternoon, Nana Funke stopped by with a basket of garden eggs. "Grandson, me, come taste," she sang. Tolu peered at the shiny white fruits as though they were marbles from another planet. "He loves garden eggs," Adesewa insisted. Nana raised a brow. Softly, "Child, do you not remember?" Tolu blinked slowly, then toddled away, humming Imani's tune under his breath. Nana Funke drew her daughter aside. "That song is no ordinary lullaby. It sounds like the tales of song weavers we heard in Ishe, women who trade memories for power." "Mommy, please," Adesewa sighed. Yet a shiver braided her spine. She promised to record the lullaby clearly for Nana to hear. Kule's university friend launched a new movie at Film House IMAX. It felt good to slip into Ankara couture and hold hands in public, almost like before the sleepless nights. Imani assured them Tolu would be fine. The party's Afro beats throbbed, but midway through the night, Adesewa's chest clenched. She dialed home, no answer. Kule calmed her, flagged a bolt, and they sped back through midnight Victoria Island. Inside, Imani rocked Tolu gently. The child's eyes were half open, yet seeing nothing. When Adesewa whispered, "Mommy's here," Tolu frowned, searching for the Yoruba word iya. It wouldn't come. Imani bowed her head. "Maybe too much stimulation earlier, madam." But Adesewa's stare hardened. How could a three-syllable word tumble from her son's mind? At 2 a.m., Adesewa sat in the kitchen with earbuds. She isolated the lullaby using freeware audio software, boosting the low frequencies. The screen visualized strange ripples, as if two songs lived inside one. She forwarded the file to her oldest friend, BC, a sound engineer at Cool FM. "Need your ears, urgent." Her phone buzzed 2 minutes later. What the actual heck is this? Those sub-harmonics hit 4 hertz, deep theta brainwave. Who's singing to your kids, Sewa? Adesewa's stomach dropped. She replayed the monitor. The hidden whispers were clearer now, like children reciting alphabets in reverse. Sunday afternoon, Nana Funke pressed cowrie beads into her daughter's palm. "Protection," she said. They sat on the balcony. Juniper breeze carrying distant bus horns. Nana recalled folk tales. Song weavers who stole the first word a child spoke, hoarding it in calabashes for longevity. "It's superstition," Kule insisted. "Let's not scare ourselves." But Nana quoted another proverb: "When a drum beat changes, the dancer must watch their step." That night, Adesewa held Tolu until he slept in her arms, refusing Imani's help. Yet as she laid him down, his fingers twitched to an unheard rhythm. Humming the lullaby even in dreams. Just before dawn, the baby monitor beeped. Tolu's cot was empty. Adesewa's heartbeat thundered as she raced through dark corridors, following soft humming to the backyard koi pond. Moonlight silvers the water. Tiny feet dangled over the edge. Imani crouched beside him, singing She looked up, eyes startled, almost fearful, as if caught mid-ritual. "I was guiding him back, madam," she whispered. "He sleepwalked." Adesewa scooped Tolu into her arms. The child's head lolled, mouth forming silent shapes. She marched inside, locking the patio door behind her, and emailed HR for emergency leave. Balloons bobbed, suya smoked on the grill, and cousins chased bubbles around the compound. Tolu turned 3 under a bright Lagos sky. Yet he stared at his own cake-top photo baffled. Confused, "Who's that boy?" he asked. The room stiffened. Imani disappeared to the kitchen for plates. Nana whispered prayers. Kunle suggested postponing the party, but Adesewa shoved a sparkler into frosting and lit it. "We will not surrender his memories to that song," she vowed. Tolu blew out the candle. The spark kissed his cheek. For one heartbeat, recognition flickered, then vanished like smoke. That evening, BC arrived with a portable spectrum analyzer. They recorded Imani singing while Tolu napped. The display showed peaks perfectly synchronized with toddler theta waves. "This is weaponized lullaby," BC muttered. Kunle, now convinced, tried to fire Imani on the spot, but the nanny's eyes brimmed with tears. "Please, I need this job," she begged. "The song, it's the only way I know." Adesewa noticed something then, a faint scar along Imani's throat shaped like musical clef. She didn't relent, but she paused. Something larger than employment tied this woman to the tune. Monday, regional HQ flooded Adesewa's inbox. Launch decks, TV spots, crisis planning. Her emergency leave dissolved under targets. Each late night was another bedtime forfeited. Imani's song grew more constant. Now at nap time, snack time, even diaper changes. Tolu's vocabulary thinned, like photographs washed in rain. When Kunle suggested a pediatric neurologist, the earliest appointment was 6 weeks out. We may not have 6 weeks, Adesewa whispered. During a rare silent afternoon, Tolu played with building blocks. Suddenly he went, dropping them as if burned. Music hurting, he cried, though the room was silent. Imani rushed over, humming softly. Tolu calmed, but when the tune ended, he looked at the blocks as if seeing them for the first time. That flash of pain convinced Adesewa memories were draining faster now. Like water through cracked clay. Work dragged Adesewa to Ibadan Tech Expo. She brought family along, hoping change of scene might break the pattern. While she presented on brand storytelling, Imani strolled Tolu through the mall atrium. At a pop-up creche, the nanny hummed. 5 toddlers nearby fell quiet, eyes glazed. Their parents later reported blank spells, not remembering faces from earlier that day. Security cameras caught only a blur. Adesewa learned of the incident through frantic WhatsApps and felt ice crawl up her neck. BC tracked an audio fingerprint of the Lullaby to Balogun Market, where bootleg CDs hawkers pushed discs labeled Northern Cradle Classics. One sample matched 96% to Imani's tune, but slower, older, crackling. Among stalls of second-hand clothes and phone cases, they met a blind vendor who spoke of Fulani cradle songs sung by moonlit midwives. He warned, "Those who borrow lullabies must pay the debt." They left with the CD and more questions than answers. That night, Kunle tried to hum the tune, half remembered from the monitor. The moment the first phrase escaped his lips, Tolu screamed and covered his ears. Kunle stopped, horrified. "No more doubts," he said, voice shaking. He hugged his son, while guilt pressed on both parents like harmattan dust. At Nana's flat in Surulere, agbalumo trees dropped ripe fruit. The scent once sent Tolu squealing. Now he sniffed, puzzled. "Child forgets taste," Nana murmured, tears beading. She sliced the fruit, and its bright flesh bled down her fingers. Tolu licked once, then turned away. Nana placed the cowrie beads around his wrist and prayed. The beads glowed faintly, then dulled, unable to anchor memories drained so deep. Tolu owned a kiddie tablet protected by a picture sequence pin. Bus, mango, drum. He'd tap it daily. One morning, he stared at the lock screen, eyes wide. "What's the code, mommy?" Adesewa guided his finger, but he recoiled. Proof the loss was selective, specific memories, not general cognition. She filmed the incident, time-stamped it, and saved to a hidden drive labeled evidence. Kunle leveraged his legal contacts, references on Imani's resume, phone numbers dead, addresses empty lots. He uncovered sealed hospital records. 3 previous families whose children developed idiopathic developmental amnesia soon after Imani's employment. He confronted her. She said nothing, only clutched the clay amulet around her neck. Late evening, Adesewa followed Imani, telling Kunle she needed air. Shadowing across Ikoyi Bridge, she watched the nanny exchange cowrie beads and whispered verses with a cloaked woman whose voice vibrated like a broken cello. Before Adesewa could confront them, Motorbikes roared past. The women vanished into neon dust. But a tiny terracotta piece fell from Imani's satchel. Adesewa pocketed it. Under BC's studio lamp, the shard revealed an Adinkra symbol for Sankofa, return and remember. Etched beneath in faint ink, memory is currency. BC exhaled. Sewa, you're dealing with a cult of song weavers. Adesewa's pulse steadied, resolve crystallizing. Then let's cut their strings. She stared toward the nursery, where Tolu slept, humming pieces of a tune he could neither escape nor remember. The battle for bedtime had begun. Adesewa and BC followed whispers to a shrine hidden in a market's underbelly. There, women sang in a language that tasted metallic. A bowl of red sand sat before them, into which a child's name was whispered and stirred. They claimed this cleansed trauma, but Adesewa saw something else. Offerings of family photographs, baby teeth and locks of hair, tokens of memory. She turned away, heart pounding. They don't cleanse trauma, they consume it. Adesewa confronted Imani. What did you take from my son? Imani, eyes shining with grief, said softly, not take, keep. The memories vanish otherwise. I anchor them until the child is ready. Then give them back. The cradle song has rules, she said, and walked away. Desperate, Adesewa offered a trade. Take my voice, just give back his laughter, his first word, his favorite snack. Imani paused, touched. You'd give your voice. Adesewa nodded. If it saves him. Imani led her to a sacred grove in Epe, where ancient trees whispered forgotten names. There, cloaked women gathered, mothers of memory. Each one bore a scar across the throat or temples. They sang not to soothe, but to preserve. When a child's world fell apart, war, famine, abuse, they sang lullabies that held memories hostage to be returned in safety. But one among them had gone rogue, a song weaver who harvested without return. Mamira. Mamira had once been a refugee child, memoryless and broken. Raised among song weavers, she grew obsessed with controlling not just pain but identity. She found that some memories, like a child's name or mother's scent, were so powerful they could be bottled, sold, or bartered for influence. Now she was trafficking stolen lullabies across Africa, embedding them in toys, apps, even sleep podcasts. And Imani? She was her last defector. Imani took Adesewa to the dream well, a pond where a child's memory could be glimpsed if the mother sang into the water. Adesewa tried, her voice trembling. The pond shimmered. Tolu at age 1, toddling across their first apartment, shouting, "Mama!" A memory preserved. The surface rippled, then darkened. A shadow swallowed the image. She's already begun to seal him, Imani warned. With BC's help, they charted Tolu's fading timeline, what he remembered, what he'd forgotten. His first tooth, gone. The green toy frog, gone. But oddly, one memory remained. The day they planted a lemon tree on the balcony. They dug around the tree, buried beneath a pacifier. Adesewa held it weeping. It pulsed faintly with memory. A symbol was etched into the rubber, Mamira's mark. Imani played a reversed version of the lullaby. Hidden in it was a code, an address in Ilori, a house built from forgotten dreams. Thoughtful, it's her sanctum, Imani said. She stores bottled memories there. The time had come to raid Mamira's cradle. Disguised as health officials, Bisi, Adesewa, and Kunle entered the alluring house. Inside were shelves, shelves of children's laughter, family hugs, favorite bedtime stories, all sealed in glowing clay marbles. They found Tolu's name etched in one, pulsing dimly. But Mamira appeared, voice like thunder, commanding, "You cannot take what has been gifted." Angry, "It wasn't a gift," Adesewa cried. Mamira challenged Adesewa to a song duel, her lullaby versus Adesewa's heart song. If the mother won, the memories would return. If she lost, her son would forget her forever. No echo effects, no enchantment, just raw, mortal voice. Adesewa sang. She sang her fears, her guilt, her hope, her first kiss on Tolu's forehead, her longing. Mamira faltered, her power cracked, the memory marbles trembled, the one marked Tolu shattered. Across Lagos, the toy frog, the garden eggs, the taste of agbalumo, everything surged back into the boy's mind. In their Lekki home, Tolu gasped mid-nap. "Iya?" He whispered it like tasting rain. Imani knelt before the council of song weavers. For aiding a mortal, she was stripped of her song forever. Adesewa offered to testify. Firmly, she saved him. Gravely, she broke the code, the council ruled. Imani smiled faintly. Resolute, it was worth it. Tolu's vocabulary returned like sunshine after flood. He asked for puff puff, pointed at his toy bus, and sang the alphabet backward just to make Kunle laugh. But he never hummed that lullaby again. Back at work, Adesewa declined the UK posting. She asked for flex time, anchored her team remotely, and left the office by 4 p.m. every day. Presence over prestige. Adesewa wrote her own lullaby. It wasn't perfect. Her pitch wobbled. The lyrics rhymed weirdly. But Tolu would only sleep to her tune now. One night he asked, sweetly, "Can we sing it together?" They did. It echoed like healing. BC launched a viral podcast, Borrowed Voices, exposing the story of the songweavers without naming names. Survivors wrote in, parents shared stories of forgotten childhoods. Sound is sacred, BC said on the finale, but it should never cost a mother's touch. Months later, Adesewa donated Tolu's old crib to a shelter. One night, a foster mother called in. A child came. He wouldn't sleep. But when I hummed a random tune, he smiled and said, "My mommy sings like that." Adesewa cried softly. The song lived. A year later, a letter came from a remote Fulani village. No address, just a hand-drawn note from Imani. Tolu's laughter echoes here. "Thank you for letting him return to himself." Mothers are the true weavers. On Tolu's 4th birthday, the lemon tree bore its first fruit. Tolu picked one, bit into it and beamed. "Sawa!" Adesewa laughed. "You remembered?" "I never forgot," he said. "Just, it was hiding." That night, as stars blinked above Lagos, Adesewa tucked her son in, leaned close and whispered, "You are made of stories. I will never stop telling. Even if the world forgets, my lullaby will always find you." And Tolu whispered back, "I love your song, Mommy. It makes me remember me." Stripped of her voice, Mamira was banished beyond the Obudu hills, where the air forgets names. But even in silence, she carved lullabies into stones, dangerous ones. She wasn't done yet, she was waiting. Tolu began to speak in his sleep again, this time in whispers that weren't his. Names no one had taught him, songs Adesewa hadn't sung, something had been left open. Nana Funke gifted Adesewa a ceremonial fan with a single eagle feather. "If he ever begins to forget again," she said, "wave this and call his name. Ancestral breath will answer." Adesewa placed it beside Tolu's bed, just in case. Kunle, once consumed by guilt for hiring Imani without vetting her properly, surprised Adesewa. He had secretly been studying sound medicine in Ghana. He wanted to learn to protect minds with melody instead of endangering them. Other families reported strange forgetfulness among their children. Sleep podcasts, lullaby apps, baby music channels, they all bore traces of Mamira's mark. Adesewa and BC began decoding them, creating a filter system, the Mama Guard Initiative. Mommy, why do I remember some things so clear and others not at all? Adesewa paused. Because some songs aren't yours to carry, but the ones that matter, your heart hid them safe. A girl at a Lagos orphanage named Mimi began singing herself to sleep in perfect pitch, but the lyrics made no sense. BC played the recording for Adesewa. It was the reversed version of the lullaby. Mamira had found a new way back. Adesewa journeyed back to the grove. She asked the Council of Mothers to open their ranks to mortals, parents trained to sing for healing, not hypnotism, to preserve joy, not trap pain. The vote passed by one note. Adesewa became the first non-initiate to join the Songweavers' new order, the Circle of Open Cradle. She trained with her voice, sang into roots, water, wind, and flame. Tolu called her Memory Mama. Together with Kunle and DC, Adesewa composed a memory re-anchor lullaby, a soft melody that helped children remember comfort, safety, and identity after trauma. They tested it in hospitals and shelters. Children smiled in their sleep. They organized a city-wide children's concert called Songs of Us. Thousands gathered. Adesewa took the stage with her newly trained circle. They wore masks to honor forgotten names. They sang the new lullaby. The entire stadium shimmered. Just when all seemed well, a haunting voice recording circulated on WhatsApp. It mimicked Adesewa's lullaby, but changed the final notes. That note made children forget the faces of their mothers. The war wasn't over. BC traced the source to a remote server farm in the north, guarded by a syndicate smuggling audio artifacts. They called it the Whisper Market. Adesewa went in with a team of song weavers. In the market's core sat a vault of sound fossils, pure memory pulses etched into bone flutes, wooden beads, and voice recording gourds. They found one labeled Tolu No, First Tears. Adesewa wept. She took it, burned the rest. Some songs must not survive. Imani, now voiceless but alive, returned bearing a gift. A set of 3 ancient flutes carved from baobab roots, one for Adesewa, one for Tolu, and one for the next mother who forgets her power. At school, Tolu recited a poem titled The Song in My Blood. He wrote it himself. He ended with, "You tried to erase my cradle, but mommy's home found me. I remember because she stayed." The hall fell silent, then clapped for minutes. Hundreds of parents signed up for Mama Guard. Adesewa trained them online and offline. She told them, presence is power, never trade it for convenience. Their motto, sing before screen. At a refugee camp, a boy who hadn't spoken in 2 years heard Adesewa's lullaby on the radio. He ran to the speaker, touched it and whispered, "Home." A nurse wrote, "Your song brought him back." Tolu opened a lemonade stand outside their house. On each cup, he wrote a line, "Every cup remembers." He gave it free to tired moms. One of them cried after drinking. She remembered her son's first word. Years later, an older Adesewa watched her grown son cradle his own baby. He sang softly, his own tune but with echoes of hers. She smiled through tears. Mamira may have stolen many lullabies, but this one was theirs forever. Moral: presence beats convenience. No app can replace a parent's voice. Every lullaby sung with love becomes a memory that never fades. Hello, my wonderful people. If this story touched your heart even a little, please go ahead, like, share, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button so we can keep growing this beautiful community together. And hey, drop a bright star in the comments if you believe that every single voice deserves to be heard. Until next time, stay blessed.